For more on what has become the #1 story in the country, we're joined by a panel of guests. New York Observer reporter Dana Rubenstein. She recently profiled the developer. And on both sides of the issue, she's neutral. We have two other guests. 9/11 family advocate Tim Brown, a former firefighter. He is against the mosque. And also Azeem Khan with the Islamic Circle of North America. He is in favor of the mosque. Dana, first to you. You profile the developer Al-Ghadab. How do you say his last name?
Al-Gamal.
And what is your sense of this man? He seems pretty determined to create this mosque. You said in your piece, though, that he came to this by accident. This was not deliberate. He didn't want to put a mosque at ground zero to provoke anybody. He just sent out somebody to find a spot. Do you believe him?
Yes. I mean, first of all, it's not at ground zero. It's
two blocks away
from ground zero, and he has lived and worked, or he did at the time live and work in Lower Manhattan, and he was going to mosques in Lower Manhattan, and he noticed that they were overcrowded, and there was a need for a new one.
We have, he spoke recently on television with New York One. We have some sound from Sharif Al-Gamal. Let's roll that, please.
We are nowhere near the World Trade Center site. It's a really sad day for America when our politicians choose to look at a constitutional right and use that as basis for their elections.
All right, one couple things on that. Number one, it's not just politicians, it's people. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this. Also, he said it's nowhere near ground zero. It's 2 blocks away.
I don't think he said it's nowhere near ground zero.
He said it's not near ground zero.
Oh, just in the New York One clip. It's 2 blocks away. I mean, that isn't ground zero. It's surrounded by...
That's your opinion.
I mean, no, but there's an OTV parlor there.
Let's go to Mr. Brown. I mean, this building was damaged in
absolutely
on 9/11.
Now, a question: people are talking about ground zero. What is ground zero? Was 7 World Trade Center part of ground zero? Okay,
sure,
so now,
it was, right?
Well, now that's closer. Mm-hmm. How about Fitterman Hall? Was that part? It was damaged and eventually had to be destroyed because it was damaged so badly. The building we're talking about had the landing gear go through the roof. So you're telling me that that's not ground zero. I think you're wrong.
Well, let's go back to that in a second. Azeem Khan, we heard from Archbishop Dolan yesterday. He may want to mediate some sort of compromise. He did something similar, or the Pope did in the mid-90s regarding Auschwitz. The nuns had a convent right across the street. The church moved it out of respect, sensitivity. They said, hey, let's keep the idea, let's move the address. Perhaps it's time to move the address here. Obviously, there are a lot of people who don't want this to happen.
Well, the question is how far back do we move it? There's another mosque that's 4 blocks away. There's another one that's 12 blocks away.
They predate, though, 9/11.
Right, but there's a need for the community. So it has to be fair amongst all religions. We can't say, well, you guys are Muslims, so we're going to push you out. That's just not constitutional.
Dana, one thing in your piece, at the very end of it, he says, he's very determined to develop this thing, but he does say everything has a price. I'm going to do this, but everything does have a price. I saw him opening the door just a little bit to the right offer, I'll take it, and I'll go somewhere else.
Look, he bought the building for $5 million. If someone were to offer him $20 million, $50 million, I can't imagine he'd say no, but I don't see that as likely.
He's a native New Yorker, correct?
From Brooklyn, yep.
All right. Azeem, and for both you and Tim, in the Middle East, I've traveled throughout the region extensively, and if I went into a bar or a cafe and I said something like, those 9/11 hijackers, they kind of had a point. I kind of understand what they did. I wouldn't be ostracized. I wouldn't be assaulted. I wouldn't be chased out of town. I'd probably be invited to, chat about the issue. And a lot of people would agree with me, wouldn't they?
No, I think you'd get both. You'd get some people who might agree, and you'd get some people who would strongly disagree with you and tell you that what they did really hurt our religion and it hurt our community.
I've seen polls varying on this issue. Osama bin Laden, his popularity goes up, goes down, but as recently as 3 years ago, Osama bin Laden was more popular in Pakistan than George W. Bush. More popular than the president of Pakistan, Pervez Musharraf, a key ally that we have or had in the war on terror.
More Muslims have been killed by Al-Qaeda than anyone else, and that's what the numbers show. So it's just ridiculous for any Muslim to support his ideology and what he stands for.
You recognize, though, that a lot of Muslims do?
Maybe overseas, but not American Muslims.
Tim Brown, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we're kind of missing the point here again. This was 93 of my friends This was almost 3,000 Americans, the largest terrorist attack by Muslims on the United States ever. I want to go back. We've still not heard from Sharif El-Gamal or Imam Rauf where the $4.85 million in cash came from.
Let's go actually to Dana on that. Where did he get the money?
I'm actually not clear on that, but I know that he says he got a lot of money from his family and friends, which is not uncommon in the development world.
Right, Tim. He's in his late 30s. He's been buying and selling real estate for a long time.
Not necessarily.
Dana, let's go back to you.
Since 2006, he's been brokering real estate for about 10 years.
Right, and what was he doing before that?
What was he doing before that? He just got out of school.
He was a waiter, yeah.
That's not uncommon either.
And now he's throwing $4.85 million in cash around like it's nothing.
He also just bought a building from a developer named Steve Witkoff for $45 million. I mean, none of this is uncommon in New York real estate.
But a cash buy is normal?
$5 million, not so much in New York real estate.
In cash.
Tim, hold on a second.
Okay,
we can debate about the ins and outs of the real estate. I mean, the real estate reporter from the New York Observer is telling us that this is not terribly uncommon, a deal like this. But regarding the families, I mean, there are nearly 3,000 people were lost that day.
Right.
It seems like we in the media can grab a family member to support whatever view of the day we're looking for.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
There's 3,000 families. Sure.
Right. And there are some who lost family members who support this mosque. You recognize that?
Absolutely. But I think there are very few. And I'm hearing from many, many families that are supporting what we're doing.
All right. Well, we have to leave it there. The debate's not going away. Everyone's talking about it nationwide. Azeem Khan, Tim Brown, Dana Rubenstein from the New York Observer. Thank you.